Okay, so this is my Land Rover Discovery SE7. It's a 4-liter V8 2000. And this is going to be my project going forward, and probably my headache and most likely a money pit. Um, Good news, I only paid $700 for it, so there's that. I bought it sight unseen from about 200 miles from me, where I am in the East Valley of Phoenix. Drove over there with my father-in-law, paid the cash, took the single key, and drove the 200 miles back in this vehicle, which was a blessing in itself. A little bit about the car. It's got 161,000 miles. I believe it has absolutely no rear brakes, which I discovered on my ride home. Okay, some good things though. The interior, actually, which I'll show here in a little bit, is actually pretty good. It's in pretty good condition. Headliner is not sagging to the floor. The leather interior doesn't seem to have any tears or holes or cigarette stains in it. So really excited about that. The dash, surprisingly, is not cracked and it's mostly intact. So the interior for a $700 vehicle from 24 years ago, I'm gonna go ahead and give that an 8 out of 10 for sure. Now, the rest of it is interesting. So another great thing, surprisingly, this is not leaking, which means one of two things. Either I should go out and buy some lottery tickets because I'm the luckiest person in the world, or it's it's just empty on fluids, which is most likely the case. Also, it doesn't overheat somehow. Like I said, East Valley of Phoenix, Arizona, where it's currently about 115 degrees out. And it made the drive home, hovered around 194 degrees Fahrenheit at its highest, but mostly sat around 187 degrees by my computer reading, and it seemed to do just fine. Didn't overheat at all. So that was nice. Probably helps that I don't have the AC working, which I'm thinking is probably a relay issue, but we'll get to that later. So let's go take a closer look at some of it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, taking a look under the bonnet, since this is an English car, you gotta use the right terminology. Actually, everything on here looks pretty good. I was surprised that this has the ACE system for the active cornering engagement and enhancement. Not really sure. Probably doesn't work, but I was just excited that it actually had it. Again, bought it sight unseen, so didn't really know what I was getting into. Engine compartment is pretty clean. So another thing is I haven't done anything to the car to clean it up or make it look better. This is how I got it. And everything in here looks pretty good. I did take a look at the fluids recently. That coolant is obviously gone, needs to be replaced. That brake fluid over there, oof, yeah, it's like definitely not the right color, and it stinks. And the power steering fluid and the fluid inside of the ACE reservoir, same story there. So it actually does have some fluid in it, but it probably needed to be replaced, I don't know, 100,000 miles and 15 years ago. So there's that. Not even going to talk about what the oil looked like when I did pull the dipstick. So that's exciting. Some more good news. The serpentine belt doesn't look too bad. Most of the coolant hoses seem to be okay. They didn't snap in half when I was playing around with them. There is some funk here and there in some of these parts. So obviously, some of these hoses and the little, plastic tubing around the hoses will need to get replaced, but, whatever, I'm winning so far. Battery looks to be somewhat fresh. So yeah, that's under the hood. Oh yeah, well, let's not talk about what the air filter looks like. I'll definitely show that later when I end up replacing it. The radiator, from what I could see through the grill and see, obviously because it's missing these clips, I did take a peek. I don't know how this thing doesn't overheat instantly, because that radiator is It's probably the worst I've seen on any car that I've ever seen. So that's under the hood. Okay, windshield cracked. Makes a lot of sense. Being a disco, these things will go through windshields pretty frequently, at least out here in Arizona, because it's such a vertical windshield that the rock chips just wreck the thing. It's got the cracked cowl, which, whatever, no big deal. It's an expensive piece, but also doesn't make much of a difference. Won't even address the windshield wipers because they're not that at this point, but you know, they'll get there one day. Missing both of the A-pillar trims. Those are also expensive from what I've seen. But you know, that's just cosmetic stuff for the most part. What paint this thing does have, I wish it didn't, you know. Hopefully we just stick to bare metal all the way around. But it's got some along the sides, which I'll pull this thing out and show it to you guys in a little bit. It's got a little bit of like rust spots along the top of the vehicle along the way. Surprisingly, nothing underneath. Again, another one of the weird good things about the car. Let me go inside and show you guys around here. So, someone was struggling with the horn buttons, which is pretty typical for these cars. The little legs on the buttons snap off, the springs shoot out, and the buttons get ejected. They're actually, I found them in the center console over here. But for the most part, I was really surprised. Power windows still work. The power seats on both sides still work. The power sunroofs do not work. So I got to see what's going on there. They're currently closed. I have no idea if they're leaking. I haven't poured water on this thing yet to see. What used to be suede on the door trims is pretty shot, but I think I can rejuvenate this and make it, you know, serviceable. I probably won't end up replacing these door cards because they're in mostly good shape aside from just the little suede area being worn down. Stereo actually sounds great. I was really surprised about that. Sounds almost as good as my my 2020 Mercedes GLS 450. Cruise control worked. Steering controls also worked. That was fantastic. Okay, rear seat. Again, not much to complain about back here. And again, check out the headliner. It's really not bad as far as these headliners go. Usually they're sort of like completely drooped down. So this one's not bad at all. You know, I could actually live with this. I could, you know, I'm thinking maybe I'll just clean up the headliner. I was thinking of just taking it out and replacing it, but I might just clean it and live with it for a while and see how it does. So yeah, there's that. Back seat's pretty good. A little tight in my garage right now, so I'm not going to open up the rear hatch, but you can see that I've got this cool active driver attention engagement system here, where this device that used to be the third brake light sort of just swings around, digs some grooves into the windshield, and that keeps the driver awake, you know, because it's such a comfortable vehicle. I might just fall asleep while I'm driving it. Third row seats are both back here. They're in decent shape. The headrests are in decent shape. So again, for $700, I'm pretty happy. It's mechanically it's rust free. It's not leaking, again, probably because it's empty. But it does need a good bit of work, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Here's some more of that sort of rust area that I was talking about. So I think, hopefully this is just mostly surface rust. These are aluminum bodies, so it's pretty tough to get these guys to rust. I'm thinking I could just wire brush this out. Hopefully hit it with some body filler, and eventually I'll paint this, but this is the least of my worries for now. Okay, I wasn't lying. Told you it was 115. This is me soaking through my shirt out here. So what are my plans for this vehicle? Well, first is to make it roadworthy. That's going to require replacing all the fluids, which is easy enough. Oil change, training fluid change, change out the fluid in the diffs, power steering fluid, brake fluid. That stuff's all pretty easy, and that's really just something you should do with any car that you buy secondhand as soon as you get it anyway, just so you're giving it a good place to start from. The computer has one code that it's throwing, surprisingly. I don't have the 3 amigos, which I'm really happy about. But I do have a service engine soon light, which I think is their check engine light. And it looked to be at some point throwing a misfire code. It's not throwing it anymore, and I haven't cleared it yet because I was going to do all this on camera. So I'm thinking it just needs plugs. When it starts up, it sort of takes a little bit of a second to get going. Almost like the plugs aren't doing the good enough job, but they're probably the original plugs. So I'll end up doing plugs and wires. Some more stuff to get it roadworthy is I'm going to change out the front drive shaft. I've heard on these Discos that's sort of a wear item on these cars. What'll happen is because the cat generates so much heat, it's right next to the front drive shaft. It actually bakes the grease out of the drive shaft, and it snaps, and then becomes this awesome weapon of death that just spins around until it crashes into the transmission and digs a hole in it, which means you're in it for a new tranny, which is probably, I don't know, quadruple more than I actually paid for this entire thing. So I'm trying to avoid that. So front diff will get, front drive shaft will get replaced. And then where I think there used to be CV boots and boots around the ball joints, there's not even a sign of those things underneath. So that'll all have to get replaced before I feel comfortable taking it out on the road. So it'll be doing those sort of things at a bare minimum. Fluids, front drive shaft, spark plugs, 2 CV axles in the front, and then upper and lower ball joints on the steering knuckles, or I don't know what they call those knuckles, but whatever they are. So that'll get done first. Then I'll feel pretty good about it being somewhat roadworthy. After that, I'm just really going to clean out the interior. Again, it was in pretty good shape, so I'm just going to give it a good detail. Go through it with a steamer, shampoo, scrub everything. I may end up pulling all the carpet out and putting it back in to clean it. That might be easier, but it didn't seem to be like, shitty, like there's stains and tears and all that sort of stuff in it. It's just, it's got that old Rover smell. Which if you've been one of these Discos, you know the smell. It's not bad, it's just distinct. Clean up the headliner, add in those horn buttons, and call it a day. From there, it's really just enhancements. I definitely upgrade the suspension. This thing probably needs it. Maybe like a 2-inch Terra Firma lift kit, which would be easy enough. And then just body work, get the pillars for the A-pillars. Maybe get that center cowl to replace that cracked center cowl that's down there. Obviously a windshield. And then I'm going to give it a go at painting it, I'll get a compressor, a spray gun. I've always wanted to try to get better at it. So, hopefully I can get to that point and the car is roadworthy enough for me to even attempt painting it. Again, $700. I figure I'm in it for, I think I did the math already. Another $700 in parts. That's right. The rear brakes are definitely one of the roadworthiness things. The rotor's on there. No, I'll just show you. Hang on one sec. Okay, here's a quick just glimpse at the front rotor. And actually this is not too bad. No grooves, pretty smooth. I assume this is the only thing stopping the vehicle right now. So I'm fine with these for now. I'll definitely end up changing them out within the next month or so, but this is not the worst thing in the world. Let me show you the back. Now this is the worst thing in the world. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Let me see if you can hear it catching a fingernail. That's not good. Those things are grooved so badly. I can actually see the shim on the pad just making direct contact with the rotor. So I definitely don't have any pad back there. So that'll need to get done. This is the driver's side rear rotor, and the passenger side rotor, it's way worse. So this is the good rotor in the back. But yeah, those will definitely need to get changed out. Surprisingly, hey, again, the rubber's not too bad on these. So I'll count my blessings where I can. So that's it. That's it for now. This is the first video of probably many. I'll also be using this to just do general automotive maintenance videos. How to swap out pads, rotors, change oil, plugs. At some point I'll have to do a radiator, so stuff like that. I'll end up refreshing the entire cooling system in this thing, even though it's not overheating at some point. Inline thermostat, stuff like that, water pump probably. So yeah, stay tuned for more.